Something just changed in the Fernie real estate market, and almost nobody is talking about it. Because over the last 90 days, we've seen something very unusual happen. Sales dropped hard, then started to recover, but prices really never came down. And when you see that combination, falling activity, rising inventory, and stable or rising prices, that usually means one thing. The market is shifting. And here we go. It's not crashing, it's not booming, but it is transitioning into a completely different phase. And if you're thinking about buying or selling in Fernie in 2026, what's happening right now could directly impact your timing, your strategy, and potentially tens of thousands of dollars. So today I'm going to break down exactly what's happening in the Fernie market using the last 3 months of data, January, February, and March of 2026. And more importantly, what does it actually mean? Now, before we zoom into Fernie, we need to understand the bigger picture right here. Because Fernie doesn't operate in isolation. It's part of the Kootenay market. And that market has been under pressure. According to the February 2026 report, the Kootenay region saw sales down 29.4% year over year, dollar volume down 35%, inventory slightly rising, and that is a major slowdown in activity. But then something interesting happened. In March, sales actually started to recover. The Kootenay region recorded 227 sales. Inventory is increasing again. New listings are rising. So what we're seeing is not a straight decline. It's a shift in behavior. Buyers didn't disappear. They were on holidays. They just became more selective. Now, let's zoom into what's going on in Fernie specifically, because this is where things get really, really interesting. In February of 2026, Fernie recorded just three single-family home sales in the whole month. Benchmark price was $967,000. Prices up 6.7% year over year. Now, fast forward just 1 month. Fernie recorded 6 single-family home sales. The benchmark price is $983. Prices up about 6% year over year. So what just happened? Sales doubled. Prices stayed strong. That is not a collapsing market. That is a market finding its footing. Here's the mistake that most people make when looking at real estate data. They see low sales and assume the market is weak, but that's not always true. Because in a place like Fernie, low sales often just mean low supply of serious sellers meeting serious buyers. And right now, what we're seeing is fewer casual buyers, more patient buyers, sellers still holding pricing confidence, and that combination creates a slower but more stable market. But here's where things get really important. Because if you look at these numbers the wrong way, you could make a massive mistake in 2026. And it comes down to one simple question. Is the Fernie market about to become a buyer's market? Or is this just a temporary pause before the next move up? Now let's dig a little deeper. Across the Kootenay region in March, single-family benchmark price was $589,800. Down slightly. Days to sell, 79 days. Inventory, 635 homes. So homes are taking longer to sell, but not dramatically longer. And inventory is rising slightly, but not flooding the market. This is what we call a balanced shift. Not panic selling, not bidding wars, just more negotiation. So you're probably sitting there wondering, what is driving this shift? Well, there are 3 forces driving the Fernie market right now. Interest rates, higher borrowing costs have changed how people buy. They're more cautious, more analytical, less emotional. Migration still exists. People are still moving here to Fernie. From Alberta, from Vancouver, from Kelowna, from Toronto and Ontario. From other parts of BC and as far as Nova Scotia. That lifestyle demand has not disappeared, People are coming here to buy the lifestyle. Pay attention, not the house. Okay? Number 3, supply constraints. Fernie is geographically constrained. You can't just build endlessly here. There's no urban sprawl. So even when demand softens, prices tend to hold. So now the micro market reality. And here is something that most nobody talks about. Fernie is not one market, right? From one end to the other, it is not just one market. There are neighborhoods that act all different. It is a collection of micro markets. Downtown, Annex, Montaigne, the Cedars, Alpine Trails, Ridgemont, the airport, Ski Hill. And in a market like this, 1 or 2 sales can completely skew the data. That's exactly what we saw in February. 3 sales is not a trend, it's a snapshot. Drop in the bucket, which is why March doubling to 6 sales matters more than the raw number itself. So if you're a buyer right now, this is actually a very interesting window because you have more time to make decisions, you have more negotiating power, but prices are not dropping significantly. So the opportunity is not wait for a crash, the opportunity is find the right property and negotiate properly with a strategy. But here's the part that most people completely miss, and this is where things could shift again very quickly. Because if pent-up demand picks up even slightly heading into spring and summer, this entire market could tighten faster than people expect. So here's what sellers need to understand right now. If you are selling, this is where your strategy is going to matter because the market is no longer forgiving. In 2021, 2022, you could price a house aggressively and still get offers. That's not the case anymore. Now, pricing needs to be dead on precise. Presentation matters more than anything. Timing matters more than ever. And the good news is prices are still holding. The risk, however, is overpricing will cost you time and negotiation power. Okay, please do not overprice your home right now if you want to sell it. The big prediction, well, here we go, folks. Sit down, strap in, let's go. Here's my take based on this data. Fernie in 2026 is not heading for a crash. It's moving into a controlled balanced market phase. And that means modest price stability, slower sales cycles, more negotiation, and more selective buyers. And for most people, that's actually a healthier market. So the Fernie market hasn't broken, it's matured. And when markets mature, the advantage shifts to people who understand what's really happening. Not the headlines, not the noise, but the actual data. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Fernie this year and you want a clear strategy based on what's actually happening right now, please reach out. We can have a chat, email, text, call, whatever. Or you can watch this next video right here where I'm going to break down exactly what your Fernie home is really worth in 2026, because in this market, guessing can be super duper expensive.